Welcome to the 2020 Fall Fest Live event. As many of you know, this is a very different event this year than it has been in the past years. This is the 9th annual Fall Fest event, and usually it is absolutely one of my most favorite events. I look out over the crowd, and as many of you know, it brings tears to my eyes to see the growth in the number of supporters that we have sitting in the audience. This event is very, very different, but I would be remiss if I did not tell you that I'm pretty overwhelmed this year by the support that we've gotten by doing this event virtually. Those of you that have been to past Fall Fest events know that we, number one, want to educate people about what addiction is all about and to change that stigma of addiction. That mission will never, ever change. It's first and foremost an educational event for the community, and secondly, it is a fundraiser to help us raise the funds. We will not let you down this year either. Even though COVID really changed the way things looked, I didn't get to walk into a beautiful hall with all of the tables waiting for you to arrive. I didn't get to see the table with all of the raffle items. Those events are still taking place tonight, and please don't be remiss in going online to bid for those items that you look forward to seeing every year, the trips, the baskets. They exist, they are just existing virtually this year. COVID really changed the way we did business. We went to a lot of virtual online meetings, but I will tell you the one thing that did not change is we were always there to answer the phone and to be a help for those people that were looking for help. Here's what happened during COVID. We isolated people. And the disease of addiction is a disease that exists in isolation. So it was detrimental to the health of the thousands and thousands of people across Michigan who suffer from the disease of addiction. So we had to change what we were doing to be there for them. We knew that the death rate would raise, and it did. It's up 27% this year over other years. We knew that overdoses would increase, and they are. They have increased by 43% this year. And so the need for what we do is greater than ever. And thank God for all of you that recognize that and so generously donated to this event this year. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every one of you. So COVID, when it first started, really created a dilemma for Families Against Narcotics. A lot of treatment facilities, believe it or not, closed down. And so people that were ill from the disease of addiction were let out of jails, they were let out of treatment facilities with no place to go. So we redid everything that we normally do, and we became a help for those individuals that were looking for a safe place to live. We were lucky to work with United Way, with other organizations that provided funding, along with our donators, to provide housing for individuals that were going to be homeless as a result of COVID. We were able to fill that gap and provide a safe living environment for so many people who otherwise would have been on the street, homeless, and susceptible to not only relapse from their disease, but susceptible to COVID. We also knew that it was really important, because people in recovery could not go to meetings, that we needed to provide those virtually. So we partnered with agencies all over the state of Michigan that were providing AA meetings, NA meetings, family support group meetings, so that we could connect people with resources to continue their recovery while they were home. We also did our naloxone trainings virtually. We changed our whole organization into providing support remotely, and yet we were still able to be there. We had our peer recovery coaches talking online with people on a regular basis. We'd stayed busier during COVID than we do during a normal year. We did not drop the ball on people that needed help. And we will continue to do that. Our platform will now include in-person and virtual meetings. What we've accomplished during times when we worried in the beginning that we would fail, has really set a trend for the growth that we didn't even think was possible. I'm going to share with you a video that we did because one thing we wanted to do was assure the community that we would not drop the ball on them, that if they needed help, we would be there to provide it. It's what we're known for, it's what we do well. And so we created a video that highlighted all over the state of Michigan what we were doing through FAN. We'll share that video with you now. We know that life does not stop just because we are experiencing overwhelming changes that are outside of our control. Unfortunately, there isn't a button that we can push that will pause our lives. We just have to find a way to keep on going.
With the world shut down, it may feel as if no one's there for you. You may feel anxious and isolated, and those feelings can be overwhelming at times.
But we know there are still people struggling. We know help is still needed, especially now, maybe more than ever.
That's why Families Against Narcotics continues to be present in this incredibly challenging time.
And even though we can't meet face-to-face with those in need of assistance, our essential services continue through virtual settings and phone calls.
If you want to start your recovery journey now, we're here for you.
Our Hope Not Handcuffs program is still in operation. You can start the process on our website or by calling our Hope line, and we'll provide a volunteer angel to assist you.
We understand what you're going through, and since February of 2017, we have helped more than 4,000 people get the resources, support, and help they deserve.
Or maybe you feel the need to speak to someone who has lived through and experienced addiction and recovery, someone who gets it.
We can make that happen with peer and family coaches.
They are standing by to talk with you and give you that boost that you may be looking for.
You know someone who is at risk of overdosing? We invite you to attend a free Narcan training session.
You'll learn how to properly administer this life-saving drug, and we'll send you a free Narcan kit right to your door so you have it on hand.
Science has proven that exercise helps reduce stress and stimulates the pleasure sensors in the brain. So consider joining us weekly for our virtual Yoga for Recovery class.
We also have online meetings and forums that you can click on Facebook Live and Zoom.
This is an unprecedented time for everyone, but FAN isn't going anywhere.
We are committed to helping and supporting you with empathy and compassion.
Even now, especially now, because we care and because you deserve it.
Visit our website at familiesagainstnarcotics.org.
Or call the Hope line at 833-202-HOPE.
That's 833-202-4673.
We're here for you.
So stay strong and don't be scared. You got this.
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 I will say that it has not been easy during COVID. What we do works better when we're one-on-one. But like everybody else, we've had to adapt. But we did not drop the ball on what we do statewide and what we're known for. Even in the midst of COVID, we have been working with 9 separate groups to start new FAN chapters throughout the state of Michigan. We have also really re-evaluated where our chapters are located. And for those chapters that are struggling, we tried to work with them to make them stronger, provide a lot of virtual meetings for them so that they could draw new people in. We did things that we shared amongst all of our chapters to strengthen each and every one of those. And so we've really evaluated everything we've done, and we are keeping the best of the best, and we are working to strengthen those things that are weak in our programs. We also launched a new program we were asked to pilot for the state of Michigan, and we will talk more about that later in this program. The successes have been abundant, and we are excited to share some of those successes with you tonight. This year we are giving an award called the Champion of FAN. This is an award that we do not give out lightly, and we do not give it every year. We only give it when the circumstances are appropriate, when someone stands out as a figure in the community that has made lasting changes in the world of substance use disorder and has been willing to help us grow and also has been willing to change their company to help them grow in the world of substance use disorder. Dan Lepp is one of those men. I met with Dan many years ago and talked about our programming. And it was amazing to me how open and receptive he was to listen. And immediately we began to see changes. Piloting of programs, partnering with us to educate the medical community, publishing articles in their journal that goes out to all of their providers. It was amazing to see what a little bit of education did to change the CEO of a very large company that can really effectuate change in the world of substance use disorder. Dan also provided opportunities for us to receive funding. Our Hope Not Handcuffed program started in Macomb County, but it was through the generous donation of Blue Cross Blue Shield and faith in that program that really led us to the ability to take that statewide and make it the program that it is today. We were able to try some new innovative things with that program as a result of that funding. And I'm proud to say that is one of our most well-received programs throughout the state of Michigan. We now partner with over 100 police departments in the state of Michigan. We have over 800 volunteer angels, and we have placed over 4,600 people into treatment. Dan Lepp, thank you for your faith in us, and thank you for everything that you've done to change not only your organization, but to help us change ours.
Good evening. I'm honored to accept the Champion of FAN Award on behalf of my colleagues at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. And I'm proud our organization is a sponsoring partner for this year's Fall Fest Gala. My involvement with FAN started during a discussion with my dentist, who shared his concerns about the opioid epidemic and how it begins with prescribed medications. He too wanted to make a difference. While Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan has been at the forefront in fighting this epidemic, we were and are always looking for new ways to extend our outreach further into the community. And we're thankful for this opportunity. Through education, outreach, empathy, and diligence, we're pleased to say that progress is being made in this battle. However, both Blue Cross and FAN recognize the fight is far from over, and this epidemic cannot fall into the shadows again. Because while the COVID-19 pandemic commands our attention, the misuse of narcotics remains a national emergency that requires a comprehensive, ongoing response. Opioid-related deaths have devastated families and ravaged communities in Michigan and across the nation for years. The statistics remain harrowing. Each day, on average, approximately 185 people die from drug overdoses in the United States. Michigan ranks 10th for the highest rates of prescribed opioids and 18th for the most opioid deaths. As family members, community members, and business leaders, we know we cannot be bystanders to this crisis. There is much that we can do and must do to improve the health of our communities and save lives. As Michigan's largest health insurer with a strong social mission, Blue Cross is committed to combating this opioid epidemic. This includes enhanced awareness and partnerships with physicians, public health advocates, and officials, a task force to ensure a comprehensive and coordinated approach, and many resources available to anyone looking for answers, including Opioids 101 page and a downloadable opioids resource guide on our website. As a driver of public policy, Blue Cross teams with physicians, hospitals, and partners across the state to reduce the use and abuse of opioids in Michigan. We've also focused on protecting our members through prevention of potential misuse, fraud detection, use disorder intervention, and integrated treatment. Since 2012, we've seen measurable progress among our members, including a 63% reduction in opioid prescriptions and a 70% reduction in opioid pills dispensed. The message is being heard. A pillar of our progress has been our association with Families Against Narcotics. I've been pleased to see how your organization has grown so quickly, from one chapter 10 years ago to more than 20 chapters throughout Michigan today. Individuals and families across the state have found the path to happier, healthier lives through the great work that you do. However, this work requires funding and staffing. So tonight, we are also profoundly grateful to those who make this possible, including our audience, participants, and the many sponsors who lend their financial support tonight and throughout the year. Thank you all for helping us take this message of hope further into the community. Your support is commendable. It allows FAN to make a difference in the lives of those who are impacted by addiction. In short, your generosity is saving lives and helping individuals and families find healthier, brighter futures. Again, thank you for this honor. It is very special to me because it speaks to the efforts of our organization, and Blue Cross is dedicated to continuing the fight against opioids. To everyone in attendance tonight, I wish you and your loved ones continued strength and good health. Keep up the great work and enjoy the rest of tonight's event.
We're here for it all. Day 1 to year 100. The times you remember and things you'd rather leave behind. Standing by for the late nights, the midday surprises, and everything in between. We're here for it all, and always will be. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Confidence comes with every card.
Dan Lepp, thank you one more time for being there for us and for being there for the company that I know that you think so highly of, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I want to thank you also for not only being the presenting sponsor at this event this year, but for all of our events this year. Your support this year in a time when it's very difficult to raise money has been so appreciated. We would not have been as successful this year without you. Thank you again. I want to talk a little bit about the Hope Not Handcuffed program that Dan Lepp so generously helped us really get off the ground and running. The Hope Not Handcuffed program has continued to grow. We receive phone calls from all over the country wanting to mimic what we're doing with Hope Not Handcuffs. As a matter of fact, we have mimicked that program in the state of New York, where we work with 25 police departments to bring that program there. But in the state of Michigan, we have over 100 police departments, and that number grows yearly, that provide a safe haven for people to walk in and ask for help. I'm not going to belabor this program because we have a video that will show our progress and how that program actually works. But I want you to know that it's easy. You walk in, you say, I'm sick, I need help, and there will instantly be around you a group of people that will walk you through your recovery. We will not let you down.
Hope Not Handcuffs is an initiative that was started by Families Against Narcotics in an effort to change how law enforcement would interact with people struggling with drug addiction. The way that it works is a person struggling with addiction walks into a participating police department and asks for help. They're greeted with compassion, and then the person at the police department calls one of our trained community angels who can assist them into getting into treatment. My husband and I were faced with this decision, like, what are we supposed to do? And so our first thought was to call the police. And we chose not to call the police because at that point, her addiction was our enemy, the police were our enemy, the drug dealer was our enemy, and we felt really alone. I love this program because now the police are there on our side again, and they're here to help us, and we're not afraid of them anymore.
It was a new thing for us. It was definitely a new thing for people who were seeking help coming to us for drug help, because that just wasn't our role in the past. Now we have the facility where everybody knows where the police department is. Now they know that they can come in and tell us they need help and get some help pretty quick.
When I was laying in the bed that night and just shaking from being cold and withdrawing, I remembered a friend had told me about this program, Hope Not Handcuffs. Immediately after being released, I walked to the front counter and I said, I need help, can you please call someone? And the police officers there, they called Hope Not Handcuffs for me. And an angel came out and it saved my life.
One of the most important components of the Hope Not Handcuffs program are our angels. Angels are trained community volunteers that come in and learn how to very compassionately help someone find a bed into treatment. We've trained hundreds of them so far, and they are people who are in recovery, they're parents like me, and ordinary community members who just want to help really end this opioid epidemic. Without them, our program would not be successful, and so we're so thankful for our angels.
My name's Terry Braden. I've been an angel for Hope Not Handcuffs. It's a little apprehensive at first, but walking in and seeing somebody there in need, you know, motherly instinct or whatever, you see somebody sitting there in bad shape and you just want to help. I feel like I've gotten more out of it than they have because they're such grateful people. They come in there and they just have a heart of gold, and you can't help but love them. And any part I can play in that feels like the greatest thing to me, to be able to give back.
This is not an epidemic of bad parenting, and it's not an epidemic of dumb teenage decisions, because we've all made some of those. This is an epidemic that was created by overprescribing of narcotics. But it doesn't have to be an epidemic that lasts. There are tangible things all of us can do to help dial this back, and the Hope Not Handcuffs program is one of those things. We can help get people the medical care that they need and get them back to the lives that they had destined for themselves.
Every year, one of the favorite part of our program for all of the attendees is that we highlight somebody that is in recovery and has really changed their life. This year, the young man that you just saw in the video is going to be speaking to you about his recovery. Kyle has been a force to reckon with. I met Kyle right after he came through our program, and I will tell you that he was skeptical of whether it would be a long-lasting change, and so was I. But Kyle has really pulled his life together. He shared with me that every morning he wakes up and he's just grateful to look around and realize that he does not have to worry any longer. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He can live his life and know that every step he takes is a step forward.
I knew something was wrong with me really early. My dad went to prison when I was about 7 or 8, and that really ignited whatever underlying mental health issue I had. Always feeling alone, and when my dad would come home from prison, he wouldn't stay home long. He would stay home maybe a good 6 months, and 3 of those he was violently drunk and intoxicated. So he kept coming, going, and I just was always like waiting for him to just be there. And then I'd figure, okay, now I can start my life. So as a kid, you don't know the adult issues, you don't know everything that happens behind closed doors. And my mom did a great job of hiding it from me. I just thought when Dad drank his beer, he got a little funny. I didn't know that it was like to the point where he broke her wrist one time when she was trying to pour out his liquor. So a couple years after high school, I want to say I was about 21, and I noticed that I wasn't having fun. Even on my 21st birthday, I just got blacked out drunk and didn't have fun. I don't even remember it. I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't keep friends. I couldn't keep anything. And that's when I knew I needed to make a change. And I started my road to recovery by checking myself into rehab first time at 21. I was so full of myself and so arrogant and obnoxious, and I thought that I knew it all. I thought I had all the answers, but yet here I am, 20-something years old in a rehab while all my other friends my age are in college. I was very bitter, and I was closed off. I did not give it a chance. I was just counting down the days till I could go back and do what I thought worked. I hit the streets 10 times harder, and it hurt 20 times worse. Because now I had my family thinking I just went to rehab, that I'm okay, everything's gonna be good with Kyle now, problem solved. And it seemed like things got worse from there. Because I was like, oh man, now everybody knows I'm an addict, I can't hide it anymore. I just can't fly under the radar anymore. My cover was blown. I was frustrated with myself for going to rehab and telling on myself, because I lost what was working for me at the time, which was my alcohol and drugs, whatever the drug may be at the time. After I got out of rehab, I relapsed pretty quickly, and I was pulled over by, I think it was Warren Police, and I had a bag of heroin on me. And when the police officers went to search my pockets, I pushed my elbow back, and my elbow went into his side, and they considered that assault, so they charged me with a felony, and I ultimately did a year in the county jail for those charges. A couple months down the road, I had relapsed again, and lo and behold, I get arrested. I was drunk and disorderly, did an overnight in Clinton Township Police Station, and this one I called the Hope Not Handcuffs for the second time, and that's the one that stuck. And that's when everything clicked. I don't know what happened, but when I was in South Carolina, something was removed from me, literally removed from me, where I do not have the desire or thought at all of drinking or drugging. I can't even fathom that life anymore. It seems like it's just a bad nightmare. I know every single day when I wake up, I know in my core I have to do A, B, C, and D, or it's going to be a F for the day. What's most important is seeing my little boy smile and laugh, and if it wasn't for Hope Not Handcuffs, this program and all that, he wouldn't even be here. I probably wouldn't even be here either. So it not only saved my life, it created another, and my fiance, she's 4 years clean, and it's kept her clean too, and it's just been blessing on top of blessing on top of blessing. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of hardship, there's really tough days, there's financial struggles. It really boils down to just showing up and doing your best, That way, at the end of the day, I don't have any regrets, and I don't have nothing to feel bad about. I can, at the end of the day, do my moral checklist. What did I do right today? What did I do wrong today? How can I be better tomorrow? How can I, just be a better person and keep this going? Because if I don't, the wheel stops. If I don't keep doing everything that I do on a daily basis, then my wheels stop, and then I start to go in reverse. And I don't need that. I spend a lot of time down pretty low, and it's pretty nice.
I want to take time here to remind you about our silent auction. You can bid on items right from the comfort of your home, either on your phone or on your computer. This year, raising funds has been a real challenge for every charity organization. We depend on those donations to keep our programs running as smoothly as they are right now. So please take a moment and peruse those items, find something that you can't live without, and bid. Stigma is one of the things that FAN has worked with from the day we started 14 years ago. We realize that stigma of addiction is what stops people from getting the help they so much need. It is what stops families from reaching out and sharing their stories and coming together to really deal with the health of their family members. Stigma is something that every single person that comes through our program talks about. How they were made to feel, how hurt they were at treatment facilities they went to or at hospitals, and they cannot believe the warmth and the kindness that's shown when they come through our program. One of our major pushes this year is to change the stigma of addiction, to change your perception of what addiction is all about. Addiction is a disease. It is not a moral failing. And until this country wraps its arms around that, we will not see substantial changes in the health and the well-being of those people that suffer from substance use disorder. When we realize that not being sick from addiction will stop homelessness, will stop children being put into the foster care system, then we can really start to make progress in the way that we treat people that suffer from this disease. My goal is that we treat every individual suffering from substance use disorder with the same urgency and care that we treated people suffering from COVID. And when we can do that, when there are no wait lines, when we have a continuum of care that really treats the whole individual, then I can retire and know that I have done my job. We are going to cut now to a video that addresses stigma. And I really challenge all of you to sit back and really question yourselves of what do you really think addiction is all about? And if it's anything other than a disease that affects your mind and changes your brain chemistry, then please join us for a forum and be educated more about substance use disorder.
Helpless and hopeless.
Drug seeker.
Druggie.
Junkie. Insignificant deadbeat mother.
So stigma is typically defined as a disgrace associated with a person or a circumstance. I remember a time when I was in court, and it was the very tail end of my addiction, and the prosecuting attorney said, "Your Honor, this man is as hopeless and as helpless as they come, and incarceration is the best option for him." They were recommending 6.5 to 15 years in prison, and that's when I said, "You're absolutely wrong." I said, "You can send me to prison, and then I will parole in 3 years, and you give me 6 months, and I'm going to be right back into this courtroom." By the grace of the kindness of the judge, they put me into drug court instead of sending me to prison, and that's what ended up saving my life.
I eventually got busted at the store stealing and with possession of crack cocaine. So when my dad came to the precinct the first thing he said to me, he said, "You're a college graduate. I don't understand this. You're not a junkie. You're not a bum. You're not in the streets. You're not homeless." And all I could say to him is that, you know, Dad, it doesn't discriminate. Just because I have a college education doesn't mean that drugs don't affect me.
I had 4 daughters in active addiction before I got sober in 2013, and I wrote a post about my story and what it's like to raise children during mommy wine culture and what it's like to have the responsibility of triplets and an older child without chemical relief. One of the responses I got back that really kind of shook me, and I still carry that with me today, was from a woman in Europe, just to say that she is so saddened that a junkie like me can just pop out children left and right, and good women like her struggle to have children because of health issues.
When I was in my active addiction, I had ignored a lot of my health problems. Eventually I could not ignore them any longer, and I went to the emergency room. The nurse had seen my track marks, and she had just started acting differently to me and talking to me differently, and I felt like I didn't have any dignity. And then she said, "Well, we're just gonna release you. We think that you're a drug seeker." And I really needed the medical attention because she thought I was a drug seeker, just a junkie, just looking to try to get a fix.
Several years ago, I worked for a nonprofit, and the law enforcement had asked for some volunteers to go into the jail for some training exercises, and I was with a group of 3 or 4 police officers, and there was 4 or 5 different skits going on, and we were doing one of them, and it was about a drug addict or an alcoholic in a room. They were trying to get him out that had done something, and they needed to get him out, and officers I was working with would say, "Yeah, let's go get some drugs, I'll come right out," and similar things to that, you know, and "Oh, I'm just looking for the, you know, the drugs," and I offered some advice during the scenario, and afterwards they go, "Wow, that was pretty good advice." They goes, "What do you do?" And I go, "Well, I work in the drug courts. I'm a recovering heroin addict," and their jaws about hit the ground, you know.
Coming up on 6 years clean in October, some of my family still does not speak to me. They don't trust me to come into their household. Even though I'm doing all of these wonderful things in my recovery, they still don't trust me because of the actual stigma of what addiction brings. Theft and lying and all of that, manipulation. And even though I've tried to mend these relationships, the stigma is so heavy in my family that some of them still don't talk to me today.
Having someone call us names like junkie, crackhead, you know, hoe, and things of that nature are all things that go along with that lifestyle. But it doesn't mean that we can't recover and come out of that lifestyle and not forget the past or shut the door on it.
We know that language can affect somebody in any aspect, really. And I think that the more we use less stigmatizing language is more good that we're gonna do in helping people to feel better about themselves.
People feel that they can be accepted and embraced and not feel shame and guilt. Then we can start peeling away the layers of the onion and get down to what really causes the symptoms of substance use disorder.
So words really do matter. That makes an impact on people. If you take out all hope and all sincerity and compassion and empathy in the way that you speak and treat people, then that really leaves them with nothing. A person on drugs is still a person, is still in need of understanding and love and compassion. And when you remove that from the way that you speak to them, it leaves them literally in the spot that you left them in, with no resources, no help, no desire to get better, just with that feeling of insignificance and lack of worthiness, and that's not fair. Nobody deserves that.
You're doing your best to keep your family safe in this challenging time, and at Nino Salvaggio's, the health of our customers and associates is our top priority as well. So we're keeping our stores cleaner than ever before, and we're fully stocked with the items you need to maintain a healthy and satisfying diet. Shop comfortably in our stores or online with our fresh-to-go shopping service. To all Nino's customers and associates, we're counting on you as much as you're counting on us. Let's get through this together.
Hello, I'm Cindy Paskey, CEO of Strategic Staffing Solutions, headquartered in Detroit. S3 is proud to support Families Against Narcotics and the work they do. We, like many others, have seen firsthand what addiction can do to a person and their family, and so we join you in your fight against this terrible epidemic. Thank you, FAN, F-A-N, and thank you to our friend Dan Lapp and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for standing with them. S3 has just celebrated our 30th anniversary, and in those 30 years, our values have not changed. We are proud to support our community through organizations like Families Against Narcotics, and we salute the work you do. We hope you celebrate your work tonight and throughout the year.
I want to talk a little bit about one of our newer programs. We launched this program just a couple of weeks before everything shut down in the country with COVID. We received money from the Department of Health and Human Services to pilot a program called the Come Back Quick Response Team. We realized that there was a group of people that we were missing. These were individuals that overdosed, were taken to hospitals, or refused treatment at that point. And once they were stabilized, they were released and allowed to go back home. They never received the help that they need to really navigate the system of recovery. And so we wanted to make sure that that group of people who may not be comfortable walking into a police department, but are still a very vulnerable population when they're using to the point where they are overdosing, we needed to address that and address it quickly. So we established a team made up of a police officer, a peer recovery coach, and a family recovery coach. All of those people are trained to do this work, and we take Hope Not handcuffs right to the doorstep of individuals that have recently overdosed. We hope to be there within 72 hours just to do a wellness check. There's no fear involved here. We are not there to arrest. We are there to help and provide services to individuals that we know it is critical to reach out to and provide help to them. This program has proven to be incredibly successful. We have been able to place almost 70% of the people that we have come in contact with services to either peer recovery coaching or family recovery coaching. The appreciation of us reaching out to them has been insurmountable and has really gone a long way to change the stigma of addiction throughout our police forces. This is a community policing program, and it is ideal for police departments to get involved and show how much they really do care about their communities and how they are willing to go that extra mile to help someone find their way into recovery. I always wanted to involve police departments in everything that we do, because being an ex-prosecutor, I came at this with a lot of stigma. And I figure if I can change my mind and we can start educating our police officers and change their minds, then we have really reduced the stigma of addiction through our actual programming.
I'm Lieutenant Mario Bastinelli with the Sterling Heights Police Department. I'm the departmental coordinator for the Combat Quick Response Team. This initiative took off in February of 2020. We were initially approached by FAN to begin this program, pilot this program for the state in working in conjunction with FAN to create a team to do follow-up visits to people that they suffer from substance abuse disorder and they have recently overdosed. So we put together a team which consists of a police officer, a family recovery coach, and a peer recovery coach. Essentially the team goes out. Our goal is to get out to a home within 72 hours after an overdose to attempt to get that person and or the family assistance and resources and possibly into a treatment facility.
My name is Officer Lamar Kashad, and I've been a police officer for 12 years. I was approached by Lieutenant Bastinelli and through the Sterling Heights Police Department about a new program that they were launching. At first, the program was geared towards going to these houses and making contact with people that had overdosed. I was a little bit receptive about the program because in 12 years, our role as police officers were that we encountered people that had narcotics on them, we arrested them, took them to jail, and then they went through the court proceedings. This program shed a completely different light on rehabilitation. So one of my first experiences was that we did make contact with a boyfriend-girlfriend couple. They had a young child. Within minutes of us contacting them, at that time, a team of a nurse and a peer recovery coach had come in. They had assisted these two individuals and we were able to see the process work out. That was the first time where I was able to see a different approach to tackling subjects that were dealing with some sort of substance abuse problem.
It took them a couple days, but they came in, they intervened, they talked to my mom, they talked to my son, they talked to me, my wife. They basically, got together and helped us.
We try and speak with them and have a dialogue as much as possible, whether it takes 5 minutes. Sometimes we've been at these homes for about 3 hours. We consider that a win. If the person is able to go into the program and get help, and if it took 3 hours, so be it, because you can't really put time on someone's life, right? And you can't determine how long it's going to take them to want to get help. If we are able to bring the resources to them, I think it really helps them get motivated and want to join the program.
Addiction and crimes that occur because of addiction, they'll continue to occur if you don't take care of the core problem that would be of the addiction. If you start providing resources to the true problem and the issue, which being addiction, you're going to have a chain reaction and a resolution to this. So how that affects the community positively is not only you're providing a great resource, you're helping people with addiction. So as I explain that to people, you get a bigger picture of why do we keep having the same crimes occur or the same people overdosing over again? Because you're not taking care of the true problem of addiction. You take care of that issue, everything else will fall in place. And we're definitely seeing that in Sterling Heights.
Peer recovery coaches work one-on-one to provide recovery to those individuals that are new to finding their own recovery. They walk the walk with them and they talk the talk. Family recovery coaches do the same things for the family. We oftentimes only treat the person suffering from substance use disorder, but we know through the families that we work with that this is a family disease. And yet the family is always left out of the treatment modalities. We have included them. We have trained family recovery coaches, which are parents who have gone through addiction with their loved ones, that can help you navigate what's best to do for your child or loved one, what to do and what not to do that could make a big difference, and they're seeking their own recovery. And it restores you to the sanity that you once used to have. I always remember a quote that came from one of our young people in recovery who said, "The only people sicker than we are the families that love them."
My name is Brad Gregory. I'm a person in recovery. I've been sober for about 4.5 years now. I had really a lifelong struggle with drugs and alcohol, primarily drugs more, but it started at a relatively early age. It went on for many, many years. I didn't get sober until I was 36 years old. I'm 40 years old now. So I've been working for FAN for about a year now. As a peer recovery coach, I am a McBAP certified peer recovery coach. I got all the accreditations and credentials to do it, and basically, I mean, what it is, it's just helping people in early recovery, whatever the barriers or obstacles may be that they need to overcome. They're different for each person. I mean, a lot of people will come in with legal problems, obviously, financial problems almost across the board, family problems, and that dynamic, and those are highly stressful things. Even if you just have one of them, if you have like several of them on top of one another, I mean, it's a lot to weigh on a person. And anything that we can help with early on, whether it just be contacts in the community to help them get a job, whether it be talk to their PO, whether it be just helping out the family, or whatever that we can do to kind of heal that brokenness wherever it lies, that's kind of what we do.
I'm Bruce. My addiction is alcohol. I grew up with a family of alcoholics. My dad is currently dying of liver failure from alcoholism. Been in and out of treatment for the past 5 years, a total of 19 treatments. I've been fighting this addiction almost 15 years now. I had a case manager at the treatment center I was at, and she asked me if I wanted a peer coach, and I've never done it before. And I said, why not? And so far it's been beneficial.
Bobby and I have been together almost 7 months. So we've been back and forth, up and down. We've cried together. We've argued together. And he told me once that he didn't need me, and now. But yeah, again, it's just the process, and he's really one of the ones that I know if he achieves recovery like he's capable, he'll be an asset and he can take over so I can retire.
Coming out of jail, I was willing and ready to do whatever was suggested. And I met Don, 7 months ago, and he's always been in my corner. He's always been there for me. He's called me, he's bugged. I felt like he was bugging me, but it showed that he really cared. And that's what was different about this time in recovery. I had so many people surrounding me. I had so many people in my corner. I had so many people that wouldn't give up on me, even when I wanted to give up every single day. I had people that loved me, even though I couldn't love myself.
I am a family recovery coach trained by FAN, state certified. And I'm also a professional businesswoman, and my most important job is a mom of 2 boys. In 2007, when I first became involved with FAN, I found out that my 19-year-old son at the time had become addicted to opiates from a hockey injury. And it turned into a 7-year addiction of revolving doors, encounters with the law, hospital visits. And at the time, I was fortunate enough to find Families Against Narcotics, but it was the beginning of FAN, and there wasn't that one-on-one that you need, I think, when you're going through this. And what a family coach does is we walk with you. We can't say we know exactly what you're going through, but we've been through a lot of similar experiences. And in the beginning for me, I remember I was terrified, I was fearful, and I was doing a lot of the wrong things, which I didn't know any better. You don't know what you don't know. I honestly would have given anything to have somebody like one of our coaches from FAN or me to be able to walk the walk with me and an outsider looking in, because as a parent, we're too close to the situation.
Dawn has been so supportive, and through her own experience helped me to learn, understand, and maintain some clarity about addiction, characteristics of addiction, expectations, self-care, letting go with love, enabling, and many of the pitfalls that may occur. I can't express how grateful I am to Families Against Narcotics, and especially Dawn, for her guidance and support throughout the many months we were together. FAN's family coaching concept and the coaching Dawn provided has helped me to understand and navigate this world of addiction, which I knew nothing about. I was numb, petrified, confused, didn't know where to turn, and so very afraid of losing my son. My world and that of my family was in chaos and crashing down around me. My son is currently in recovery and doing well adjusting at this point. I pray to God that this honeymoon phase he's in continues forever. However, I'm realistic about setbacks. I continue to read, heal, learn, and grow from this experience, as horrible as it is.
Fear, shame, guilt, the stigma that goes along with addiction keeps people from getting help. But once you get past that denial and you can accept it, now you know what to do, and you can ask for help, and you can, get the advice and the help that you need.
I want to stay around a group of guys that Brad has introduced me to. In the past, I've always went back to old friends, and it never turned out well.
I have quite a few that I stay in contact with, even though they're no longer, using our services or my services. I still stay in contact with them because obviously, that's what we want to see at the end of the day. That's why I do what I do. Is we love the success stories.
It's the first time most of the people that I deal with have someone that first of all, they know cares, without any reservation. And the second thing is someone they can tell anything to, because through our agreement, I can't say anything to anybody.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that this time around I found a recovery coach. He's there for me when I need to talk. He doesn't tell me what to do, he gives me suggestions. He's on me about situations like if doctor's appointment, things that a normal person should do, but because of drugs and alcohol, I haven't really developed to the full capacity that I know I'm capable of. So he's on me big time. The biggest thing is though, I know that he loves me. He sincerely cares about me. And I'd be an idiot to not take advantage of those people that are in my corner, you know what I mean?
I have a son who's battled addiction on and off for more than 15 years, and for some of that time, his drug of choice was heroin. Back in May of 2019, my wife and I were convinced that the heroin use had come to an end because my son hadn't used it in probably 2 or 3 years. One night, my wife and I were in our family room doing a crossword puzzle, and I noticed that it was kind of quiet upstairs. So my wife said she'd go check on our son. And when she got upstairs, she screamed down to me to come up. And when I went upstairs, I was shocked at what I saw. My son was basically unconscious, making moaning sounds, half on the bed, half off the bed. And we couldn't wake him up. So we immediately called 911. The police came in just a matter of minutes. And when they got there, they asked us if our son used heroin. And I said he had in the past, but hadn't in a few years, so I doubt that, that was the issue. I thought he had just drank too much and was just really drunk. But to be safe, they said that they were going to administer Narcan to him. And after 2 doses, my son came back to life. After the incident, our son told us that he had gotten really drunk and just wanted to try heroin again to see what it felt like. So thanks to that Narcan that the police carried, our son's life was saved. A few minutes after the police had administered the naloxone to our son, the paramedics showed up. They were a little bit late because they'd been delayed on the way to our house, and they told me that it was a good thing the police had the naloxone on them, because if we would have had to have waited for the paramedics to administer it, it probably would have been too late. This whole overdose incident with our son really shook me and my wife, and we decided that we probably needed to have naloxone in our house, because even though we thought our son was done using heroin, we obviously didn't know that there was a chance that he would go back to it again. So after this incident, we went online and looked to find out where we could find naloxone training, and we discovered that Families Against Narcotics offered naloxone training that included a free naloxone kit. So we signed up and took the class. Some people think that naloxone is simply a drug that enables people with substance use disorder and it'll just bring them back to life so they can use again. But I really think that naloxone is no different than, having an EpiPen for someone that has an allergy to bee stings, or having a defibrillator on hand for people who may have a heart attack. It's something that's there in case you need it, in case you need to save a life. And it's better to have it and not need it than to not have it when you do need it. Since 2015, Families Against Narcotics has trained more than 4,000 people on how to use naloxone. These are individuals, community groups, UAW workers, medical professionals, students, faculty, all people who probably wouldn't have access to naloxone if it wasn't for FAN. And all of these people now know how to save a life if they need to. I think the reason I'm so passionate about naloxone and the naloxone training that FAN does is simply the fact that if it wasn't for naloxone, my son wouldn't be here today. And I think everybody should take the training, have naloxone in their home, carry it with them, just on the off chance that they might be able to be a lifesaver. If you're watching this and you're interested in taking a naloxone training class, or if you have a business or community group or an organization that you'd like to have trained in the use of naloxone, visit our website at familiesagainstnarcotics.org/naloxone.
"14 years ago, when we started Families Against Narcotics, our first initial mission was, first of all, to provide family forums once a month so that education and support could be available to families and those seeking recovery. But another big part of our program was also education for young people. If we had heard one time, we heard it dozens. If I had only known how dangerous those pills were, I never would have taken them. And so that was one of our initial missions, was to educate young people by using other young people to talk to them about the dangers of prescription drug abuse and misuse. That program has grown. It was slow starting in the beginning, but now our school program is in such need and we get so many requests for it that we can hardly keep up with the demands. If you are listening and you would like this educational program brought into your school district, please just notify us and we will be glad to accommodate.
As a police liaison officer, I recognized several years ago that there was an opioid crisis. Some students that I had worked with had graduated and ultimately died of heroin overdoses. And because of that, I became passionate about trying to be proactive and educating kids.
So I wanted to bring somebody who could come in and be real and be raw and tell the kids exactly how it is.
I can find the most amazing videos and I can read stories, and we can do all these different activities with trying to understand what addiction is. But until they come in and share their stories and really make it more real, it has the most positive impact on the students' learning that I could ever ask for.
I actually went to a fan meeting, one of the nighttime meetings over in Fraser, heard about the program. There were a lot of families there, a lot of recovering addicts, and after hearing about some of the programs that FAN put on, I brought it back to the school where I thought it was important to try to get that message out to the kids.
If I could have set this pill down in front of a chair and talked to me, it would have said a lot of things like this. It would have said, you know what, David? It would have said, you probably shouldn't take me. It would have said, one day, I'm gonna end up ruining your life. It would have said, you know, one day you're gonna become severely addicted to heroin. It would have said, one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna steal all your mother's jewelry and your dying grandmother's cancer medication. And your mother's gonna cry herself to sleep every single night, not knowing whether you're dead or alive.
I've had students after class approach David and share some personal information with him that maybe they didn't feel comfortable sharing with me. And he was able to get that information back to me, and I was able then to go to counselors and get the students the help that they needed.
Just to hear someone's perspective on how easy it is to follow that, and how it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, and to almost see a real person that kind of fits who they are. It's not in a movie, it's not in a book. This is my life, and this is how easy this happens.
To actually hear from somebody who's experienced and who has lived it, it's no longer a story that we're telling, it's actually his story. And I think that has more of an impact for students hearing the message. And I get emotional talking about it, because I have known so many kids who have died of overdoses that I've personally known that I'm not going to see one of these kids later down the road have to go to their funeral.
Could you spare $1 to give someone hope? Our 1 Million Reasons for Hope campaign is setting out to raise $1 million. I know, that sounds a bit out there, right? Well, FAN's programs have helped thousands of people get the help they need. From our monthly FAN forum meetings to our Hope Not Handcuffs initiative, naloxone training to peer and family recovery coaching, and from sober living scholarships to our Stronger Together family and friends support group. And the best part about every single one of these services? They're available completely free of charge. To keep our programs up and running, we are asking that you donate $1 to our 1 Million Reasons for Hope campaign, and then share the campaign with others. Because a lot of little donations can add up to something very big and amazing. So check your pockets, your purse, and your car's cup holders. Find that dollar and send it to FAN. Consider it a small investment in the futures of the thousands of people we help. We want you to be 1 in a million. Go to 1millionreasonsforhope.com to get started.
$1 Million Reasons for Hope, such a simple concept. And that is a program that we're hoping will really catch fire. $1 doesn't hurt any of us, and it can go toward really changing the course of somebody's lives. You've heard the extraordinary programming that FAN does on a regular, everyday basis throughout the year. Your $1 can make a difference in one of those programs. Please give, and give generously. It has really been my pleasure to be with all of you tonight. And I look forward next year when I can get those hugs and we can shake those hands and be back in person once again. But this is an important event, and we would have been remiss if we had not done it virtually this year. We will never let you down. We will always be there. Please come back and be with us again next year. Once again, thank you so much to all of our generous sponsors this year. And a big shout out to Dan Luff and the Blue Cross Blue Shield Group for your incredible generosity in being our presenting sponsor and doing so much in your community to make a difference. Thank you again, and good night.